Alright guys, so today we're going to check out the Skullcandy Dime 3. Now I think that the Dime lineup is probably Skullcandy's most popular lineup of earbuds. And the reason I say this is not only because of its price, but it does have a lot of things that's made to be used on the go, which I really kind of think is the point of earbuds. So we're going to talk about all of the features that these have, the upgrades, and kind of compare it to the Skullcandy Dime 2 and see if it's worth the $29 price tag. So as you can tell, especially if you're familiar with the Skullcandy Dime lineup, they haven't changed anything when it comes to price. They've always been right at $30. This pair is no different, but it is different when it comes to some of the features and the design. And we're going to go ahead and start with the design. If you're familiar with the Dime lineup, you'll know that the case always kind of had it where you can see the earbuds on the outside. When you take the earbuds out, it always kind of leaves the case exposed. The Dime 3 does the exact same thing, except the earbuds kind of stick out a little bit more in the case. It still has the little loop where you can kind of connect it to your keychain. The difference here is this little lanyard or loop or whatever you want to call it is not removable like it's been in the past. So like on the Skullcandy Dime 2, I could take this little lanyard off if I wanted to. With the Dime 3, it's just stuck on there the way it is. Now a huge upgrade, and this just needed to happen anyway, is the Dime 3 now uses USB-C for charging instead of micro USB. I really don't understand why companies still use those anyway. And then outside of that, some of the other upgrades is these now have a stay aware or ambient mode where you can be aware of your surroundings. The battery life has improved on these. So they're really trying to make these where this can be your all day on the go type of earbuds, where the Dimes in the past really couldn't do that because the battery life wasn't great. It didn't have that aware mode, so there was going to be certain situations you couldn't use those. So that is something they've improved upon with these. So some other things is the Dime 3 now supports multi-point connection, so you can connect to more than one device at a time. It still uses that Tile integration, and you just basically go in your iOS device or your Android device and download Tile, and it allows you to track or keep up with where your earbuds are. And in the $30 price range, that's pretty impressive. That's not something you're going to see on a lot of other $30 earbuds, but Skullcandy and Tile has basically had this relationship and integration into their products basically for the past few years. So any Skullcandy product has pretty much had that Tile integration built in. Now, as far as using these outdoors, it does come in with an IPX4 rating. Basically, it's fine against rain and sweat and splashes. It's not one that you would want to submerge into water, but if you do submerge them into water, I think this goes back to the price where that $29 price tag, you just buy another pair and you're still well under what you would spend on most earbuds. Now, another feature that these have, and this has been in the previous ones, but it is still nice that it has it, is it has 3 built-in EQ settings. You can switch between the 3 different settings, which is just regular music mode, a bass boost mode, and a podcast mode. And really, the music mode is going to be the one you leave it on the most. I feel like the bass boost adds a little bit too much bloatedness in the bass, and it kind of affects your mids and highs a little too much. And the podcast mode is where it's bringing your mids forward. So if you are going to listen to podcasts or watch shows or movies, I would leave it into this mode because you're going to hear dialogue a lot better. But still, music mode is going to be fine for pretty much every situation you're going to use them in, but it's still nice that it has those 3 different options. And then as far as the controls on these, they do use touch controls, and I am sad to say that they don't give you control over everything. And this is a big deal because these do not work with Skullcandy's app for you to go in and switch around controls. So out of the box, and basically the only way that you can control these is you have your play, your pause, your ability to turn the volume up and down. You can switch it into the different EQ settings and also that aware or ambient mode, but you cannot skip your tracks forward or go backwards. You're going to have to pull out your phone to do that, or you can activate the smart assistant on these and actually ask it to do it. But I really wish that you had track control. That is something I use obviously more than anything, and that's not something that you can do with this pair. Now, when it comes to the accessories, it does have the usual suspects here. You get your small, medium, and large silicone ear tips, and it comes with a very tiny USB-C cable. So you are going to have to use this cable because obviously these do not have Qi wireless charging. I feel like if they added Qi wireless charging, we're probably going to look at $40 to $50. Maybe that's something they could do later. Maybe they can have a Skullcandy Dime XL model where it adds a few other features, maybe makes it where it works with Skullcandy's app and gives you a little bit more functions. And I think that's something people would probably pay for. I think people are buying these obviously for their form factor. It is very small. It's very compact. In fact, it is still slightly smaller when it comes to length compared to the Skullcandy Dime 2, but it is adding a little bit more, I don't know, girth, bloatedness, fatness, whatever you want to call it. It's a little chubbier than the previous models. But again, I think this is where the battery life is going to come into play, because the battery life on the earbuds, as to where before you can only get about 3.5 hours on the earbuds and maybe 12 hours total using the case, you can now get 8 hours of battery life on the earbuds and about 20 hours using the case. So they've improved upon the battery life on the earbuds and the case, and now you also get fast charging where a 10-minute charge will get you 2 hours of use. So if you're headed out the door, your earbuds are dead, you could just charge them for 10 minutes, get 2 hours, and that's going to get you through a gym session, or if you're going to go out running or riding a bike, it's nice that it has that fast charge feature. Now, if you are going to use these for taking phone calls, they now have what they call clear voice smart microphones, and it also uses side tone. So if you're going to take a call and you're talking, you can actually hear yourself, which means it's going to kind of keep you from yelling at whoever is on the other line. Because if you're using earbuds and you normally cannot hear yourself, you're going to find yourself yelling or speaking a little bit more louder than you normally would. So it is nice that you can hear yourself. And I think they've actually improved the mics a pretty decent amount where it doesn't sound as artificial. And I also feel like it does a pretty good job of blocking out my surroundings. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here.
So here's the mic test using the Dime 3, and overall, for a $30 pair of earbuds, I think it picks up my voice pretty clearly. I mean, there's digital noise, there's some warmth, but overall, it's pretty impressive. And so now here's the mic test for the crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public.
So now let's talk about the sound. And it's kind of pretty much what you would expect in a budget pair of earbuds, but also a pair from Skullcandy. They definitely kind of lean a little bit towards the low end. It does have quite a bit of punchiness to it. It's not going to be anything that's accurate. This obviously isn't going to be like a reference style earbud. If you're looking at Skullcandy for that, I think you're just looking in all the wrong places. But it is a fun earbud to listen to. I mean, the bass has a nice punch. The mids are boosted slightly where, I didn't have any issue with vocalists in any genre. If it was male or female vocalists, I always felt like they stood out just enough. And the treble, although it's not like extremely bright, it's bright enough that you can hear all of the different little details. And it kind of just balances out well with the low end that these have. But they're still going to lean a little bit more towards the low end compared to a lot of these other earbuds that I've tested, but I think that's what a lot of people are looking for. I think if you're a bass head and you just like that really punchy kind of bloated bass, these do a good job with that. It's not bloated to the point where it's destroying your mids and highs, so it's not like they're just going all in on the low end. It's not balanced, but it still brings out enough details. It has vocalists and instruments kind of stand out just enough, but still just know that the bass is where they're kind of pushing these, and that's in the music mode and also the bass boost mode. I think if you want to just hear vocalists a little better, or if you're just wanting to, again, listen to podcasts or movies or TV shows, you would just switch it into that podcast mode, and that's going to be good enough for that. And then when it comes to the soundstage and the sound imaging, there's not really anything to write home about here either. It left me feeling like I was in a medium-sized room, so still not a small or just closed-in area. And it does a decent job of being able to tell where different sounds are coming from. So my overall opinion is this. You're basically buying these for the portability, the functionality, the inexpensiveness. So, if something happens to them, you just buy another pair and replace them. I think it's going to definitely check off a lot of boxes for a lot of people because now you can use them in an office environment and kind of hear the people around you. You can use them out while walking or running and not have to worry that you can't hear traffic. Also, them upping the battery life is huge because now it does make it where you can use them all day. If you're at work on an 8-hour job, these getting 8 hours of battery life basically means you don't have to stop at some point in the day to charge these. That is a huge convenience. And the fast charge feature is also nice because, again, I'm not one to always make sure my earbuds are charged. So it's nice to know that I can get 2 hours of use on a quick 10-minute charge. So I feel like they've made all of the right upgrades, especially where they can do it without having to bump the price up. I think if they added Qi wireless charging or added app support, or, tried to make it where they're putting a little bit more features like smart sensors and things like that, the price would start to go up, and then it would kind of start to compete with some other earbuds in their lineup, where I think that the huge selling point on these are the price. I do like the convenience. I do like the fact that I can just attach them to my keys and basically have them on me at all times. And I do like the color. I mean, this is I don't think it's called white, but it's basically like white and orange. And they also have an all black model, but this is, kind of typical Skullcandy. You'll have a lot of different color options. You're not just stuck with one. And again, I think they're going to have a hit here because they didn't go up in price and they're giving you a little bit more for your money. So, guys, that's my video on the Skullcandy Dime 3. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.